Okay, welcome back. So last tutorial I showed you how to change the speed and duration, so essentially do slow motion, how to change the opacity of some clips, and how to layer them on top of each other using the different channels. All right. So this lesson, what I'm going to do is show you how to use transitions and effects. So if we have a look over here in the effects section, if you don't have that, you can just go to Window and then Effects, and that'll come up. We can see a range of options. So what we're going to look at is video transitions to begin with. So there's different types. There's your dissolves, your 3D motions, your slides, your wipes, your zooms. So the thing to be careful with, I guess, is you don't want to overuse these because it starts to look a bit cheesy. So you have to show a little bit of restraint. My personal philosophy is to keep it as simple as possible. So I'm going to do a quick cross dissolve, and that's it. So a cross dissolve is when one clip basically blends into another clip. So if I turn off that channel, you'll be able to see it more clearly. So to add it, we add it to the timeline here. We just click and drag, and we want to put it between the two clips. So if you zoom in, and you can do that by clicking on the timeline and using the Command plus, same as you would in Photoshop. So we can see that the cross dissolve is in between these two clips here. So to make it a bit longer, you can do something like that. So just grab the edge of it and move it further into the clip, and then it will do it equidistantly on both sides. So let's just zoom out a little bit so we can see all of our clips. And if we start here, we should see what the cross dissolve looks like. So you can see that rather than quickly cutting, there is a bit of overlay there. They kind of blend into each other. So that's cross dissolve. That is one I would recommend using. And to get rid of it, just obviously click on it and press delete. Film dissolve you can use as well. I mean, it all comes down to personal taste, and you're just going to have to experiment and see what different ones look like. So that's very similar to the cross dissolve. There are some like really kind of wacky ones. Well, they're not necessarily wacky, but you've got to use them correctly, otherwise, as I said, it looks a bit cheesy. So let's have a look at the cross zoom. So, I wouldn't personally use that. I don't think that looks very good. So I'm going to stick here to the cross dissolve. I'm happy with that. It's very simple, classy. So we'll turn those channels back on and see what that looks like now. And it's good. I mean, you can't tell too much because, there's quite a bit going on here. But it does make a difference. And it's good to know how to use that anyway. The other thing we can do is have a dip to black. And we don't have to use that as a transition. We can use that at the start of a clip as well. So we should see here, it'll go from black and slowly fade in. And you add it the same way, just like I've done then. So dragging it onto the clip, so that was a dip to black. Additive dissolve, let's see what that looks like. Yep, so it's just like smoothing the transitions. I'm just trying to avoid those like really abrupt cuts between different pieces of footage. All right. So that is, you know, the basics of Photoshop. There's also, you know, video effects as well, and you add them in the same way. So it's the same kind of things you'd see on Photoshop. But again, be quite restrained with it and be a bit sensible about it, and keep the aesthetic that you're going for in mind, because it is easy to go overboard, but yeah, you just got to show a bit of restraint. The other thing I was going to show you is how to add music. So again, down here, double click to add a song or an audio clip. So I've got some on my desktop. So, you know, there's a range of songs you can choose from. I mean, obviously have one in mind, probably. I'll just choose this one for now. And it's the same kind of thing. So, you know, you can edit it up here, but unless you know what you're doing, it's it's easier just to have a clip that you're ready to work with, or an audio clip you're ready to work with. And then to insert it onto the timeline, same thing, you can just drag it straight over. And then you'll see if we play, you know, we can add sound to our clip. So that's a bit of an abrasive song, so I might choose a different one. Maybe a bit more of a relaxing one. So that kind of fits the aesthetic of what we're doing. And I might just make it cool. So let's see what that looks like. So yeah, it's generally what I'm after. And that's, you know, the music kind of fits the aesthetic. It's, you know, kind of, it all works together well. So I'm happy with it. I'm ready to export. So what do I do now? As you can see here, the timeline's a lot of unedited footage. I kind of just want this section here where everything's overlaid and this section of music. So if you see over here, there's a range of tools. We're going to use the razor tool. And I think we're going to cut it so it's all ends at one point here. So to do that, you just literally put your tool over the clip and just press the select button on your keyboard, so you left click on your mouse, and it will separate them into two different clips. So with the move tool, we just want to select that now and press backspace, select that backspace, and we've got a clip that only goes for that long. So it's got, you know, a 30 second or 36-second video. So very good. So I want to get this clip off Premiere and onto, you know, an MP4 file so I can use it. I can put it on YouTube, or I can, you know, I can give it to someone. I can play it on a screen, whatever. But it's a file that's easily played on other programs or machines, I guess. So to export the clip, we want to press File and Export, obviously. And we're going to select Media. And here's your basic, your export kind of bit. So it's the same kind of thing as you see on the editing screen. We want it to we want to export the whole clip. So you can also set in and out points by pressing I and O, blah, blah, blah. But we just want to export the whole clip. So this is an important bit, format. So we've got a whole bunch of different formats that we want to use. The one I would recommend you guys using, because it fits it works, it's a high definition format basically, MP4, is the H.264. So select that. It's the same kind of aspect ratios you'd find on a computer or TV screen, which is good. It's not a kind of a square clip. And it is quite a good quality clip. So output name, we're just going to click on that and change it to something else. I'm going to call it example video. And then we're going to hit save. And then here we're going to make sure we've got export video and export audio. And when we're ready, we're going to hit export. So, this is a 30-second clip, so it shouldn't take very long to export. As we're looking at it, a minute or so. So obviously the longer clips you make, the longer it's going to take to export and turn into the format you're after. So if you're making a 10-minute video, it might take 20 minutes to half an hour to export. So just keep that in mind, and if it's possible too, I always recommend exporting smaller clips and then putting them together later. But if you're making something up to like 20 minutes, don't do that. Just make it as one clip. Okay. So we'll just wait for this to export. And so that's basically the functions you'll need for Year 11 for your project. And Valentina, I'm sure you can use some of these techniques in your video as well. But yeah, that's the basics. So things like your changing opacity, changing the speed, cutting it to the right length of the clip that you want to use, adding audio. All that stuff's handy, and it'll just take practice to kind of get good at it. All right, so we've exported that clip, and you'll see it appear on your desktop or wherever else you've set it to save to. And there you go, we've got an exported, edited clip that uses audio. So success. So the other thing I should also say before I stop this tutorial is don't forget to save a copy as well, so you can come back and edit it later. So same as you would save in any of the other Adobe programs. So we're going to call it example, and I'm going to put it on my desktop as well. Okay, so that's the introduction to Adobe Premiere Pro.